This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Yeah, this feels very appropriate. OverDrive off and running, TSN 1050 on the TSN app, up on TSN 2. It's Halloween. There's Noodles, who's a very serious guy. He's got a lot of serious takes today. What the hell is that mask? That is terrifying.
I bought it online.
Who is it supposed to be?
Looks like Dave Lewis, the old head coach of the Red Wings, a little bit.
Dude, take that back.
No, Dave Lewis is a good guy. I'm saying the mask is, it's kind of got a Stan Van Gundy vibe, too, doesn't it? Doesn't look like Stan Van Gundy.
Looks like Stan Van Gundy went out all night and just tore up a city and showed up on OverDrive.
Yeah, this is wild. Stan Van Gundy's on the show today. I never would have noticed. It's a great day to have you. James Harden got traded, Stan. Your thoughts?
I was just thinking about, who was it? Was it Giannis that wore a mask in his media the other night?
Last night, I think he did.
After
they beat Miami.
Or
they beat Miami.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, that would be pretty ballsy to show up in that gear after a loss.
Right. That was a couple nights ago they lost. Last night they actually won. And, yeah, he had the mask on. And you sent the video out, Noodles. Like, he's breaking down. He's like, yeah, our three-point shooting in the fourth quarter really improved.
The hands on everything.
Yeah. We can barely hear you. I think you gotta take Stan Van Gundy off, because that is actually a really
what we got.
That was him.
Yeah, that's Giannis last night. That's what, the Hulk, I guess.
Imagine going to, like, if you didn't know that was Giannis's house, and the guy, how tall is that dude? 7 feet tall?
Yeah, 6'10" anyway.
He wheels out. He would make kids run away.
Of course. Crazy.
Yeah. I've got into this like wild kind of Andre the Giant rabbit hole recently, because I saw a picture posted of Wilt Chamberlain, Andre the Giant, and Arnold Schwarzenegger all in the same movie. I guess it was Conan the Barbarian, I think they were shooting together. And Arnold is a big dude, like, naturally. Everyone understands that. Like, Arnold, right. I think he's 6'3", 6'4", massive. And he's in between Wilt, who's like 7'2", and Andre the Giant, who I think is 6'11". And he looks like he's 5'3". Like, he looks
crazy.
It's crazy how big they are. And Wilt is tall but skinny, and Andre the Giant is tall and massive. And there was a video circulating on Instagram, I think it was yesterday, of Mean Gene Okerlund like putting his hand up in the palm of Andre the Giant, and you could fit 4 of Okerlund's hands in his hand.
I've been down some weird rabbit holes, zit popping, weird stuff, but an Andre the Giant rabbit hole is a weird one.
There's some wild stuff, man. The amount of stories about his life, what he would drink, what he would eat, how he would fly. Like, that guy getting on a plane. Imagine you're in a middle seat and Andre the Giant is like, I think I'm out on the window.
Yeah, but don't you think, like, I heard when he passed away, and these are probably just like made up online stuff, but like, didn't they have to bury him in like a piano case or something? Like, there wouldn't be a casket that would be that big to, fit him.
I guess you could build one, but he was a massive human being, like a massive, massive person. And there's no rhyme or reason for why I'm in the Andre the Giant rabbit hole right now, but I just thought of that as you mentioned Giannis opening the door. Could you imagine Andre the Giant opening the door and saying, "Oh, we don't celebrate Halloween. Get the hell out of here. You have 10 seconds to get off my property." How terrifying that would be.
You know why I wore that mask? So you want to talk about rabbit holes. I know everyone goes on to YouTube or Instagram, and they start to scroll, and that's what happens. But these ads come up, and I don't know how they pop up. It's got to be AI, because you're thinking something and all of a sudden it's there, right? So about a month and a half ago, they had the ear camera. I don't know if you saw that. Like, it's like a pen, which is a camera. You could stick it to your ear and like deal with your earwax. So I'm like, yeah, I'll try that.
You bought that product? That sounds incredibly dangerous.
It is. Well, I don't think it's dangerous. It's like a little bit of a scoop or whatever, but it's a camera with an app. So you're watching the pen in your ear, and you're zooming around and watching it like a camera on your app, and it's, you can scoop out earwax or whatever.
Like completely unqualified. This is like the Gary Roberts MRI conversation all over again. You should not be the one watching like the insides of your body get cleaned out.
You know what you could do? You could, at the bare minimum, you could do the one where you squirt your nose and get the junk out of your nose. That stupid commercial.
Yeah, but
that's
why
on
do you need a
TSN
camera,
every
though?
morning.
Yes, the Visage or whatever it is. They do a great job of plugging that, and it seems like a pretty decent product. But why do you need to watch it?
I don't know.
Like, why would you need to ever see what's happening?
I think it's
inside your ear. I don't understand that.
To figure out if you've got a potato patch or not growing in there, you're like, okay, I got to figure out which walls to scrape or whatever. But
right, I guess so.
Point being, as I got caught down that rabbit hole, and then there was like, okay, it was called Old Man Mask. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, but the guy put it on and it fits so snug. The guy literally went from a young kid to like an old man, and it was like perfect. So I'm like, all right, I'll try it. And that thing arrived, and it was like saggy on my face.
It's not even close.
No.
So you thought you were getting like a Mission Impossible mask.
Yes, exactly.
Where you put it on and you literally morph into that person.
Yes.
Yeah, you actually got that looks like
who was it, Stan Van Gundy? Or
Stan Van Gundy. It looked kind of like Stan Van, like a little bit.
After a bender.
After a bender, yes, of course.
Well, there you go. Happy
maybe
Halloween.
he flew into L.A. with James Harden. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the play. Like, this is what the internet was created for. Is the amount of people that are sending memes out, and like I saw so many different things about strip clubs in LA and the reaction of the employees, and man, how it's life altering. The fact that James is on his way to LA, and we always play the truth serum game. I'd love to get Damian Lillard into a room and say, "What do you think, man? Like, you wanted to force yourself to Miami and you get sent to Milwaukee. This guy's 3 for 3 going where he wants to go." Like, it's wild. He just sabotages an organization and is like, I'm only going here. I only want to go to Brooklyn. I only want to go to Philly.
The question is the clip. Like, if you're the Clips, aren't you watching this saying what's ahead sooner or later?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is it? What do you give the guy? 1.5, 2 years tops? And with the clip,
for
how
sure.
old is he anyway? He's
he's 34, I think. Like, he's mid-30s. That's the thing. They're all over the hill. It's Kawhi, Paul George, Russell Westbrook, and now James Harden. This is a 98 Degrees reunion in 2023. It's like, who's waiting for this? Who thinks this is going to work? It's not going to happen. And I do wonder if that's a part of it, is that these teams, starting with Houston to Brooklyn to Philly, they're like, all right, we'll give you what you want. Go ahead. We'll send you to L.A. You go over there and sabotage that operation. See how that works out. Just a wild trade, kind of out of nowhere. And, to Harden's credit, I guess, as an individual, I will give him credit because he's made a fortune and he always goes where he wants to go. And he
does it his way, man. You got to give him credit for that. You got to give him credit for that. I always said, you got one career. If you can kind of do it your way, play where you want, that guy's done it, man.
He's written the book. Like, this is a different career than anyone's ever had in pro sports. James Harden. It is one of the more unique careers where this guy has wanted out to one place, and he has achieved that every single time. And the way he's gone out, he has left a drag bunt of epic proportions.
Yes.
Everywhere he goes. Yet in Philly, I'm sure they're ecstatic. He's out. All right, move on. See you later. We can move on with Embiid and Maxey and these players and these picks. So Bobby Marks will join us of ESPN later this afternoon. Not a good one for the Raptors last night either. We'll get into that, where it took 3 games. We wondered what's the total for Darko to come out and be like, I can't believe this is happening. 3 games is your answer for the new coach to say this is a bit concerning. It's 4 games. Yeah, exactly. It's 4 games, and it's not a good start. They got the win. They had the party in the locker room, and then went to Chicago, then at home to Philly, and then at home to Portland last night. Now they're 1-3. They can't shoot. Their offense is terrible.
Dude, that was the layup of all layups.
Yeah.
Portland on a back-to-back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Portland's tanking. They're out. Like, they know what they are. They haven't won a game all year. And the Raptors handed that to them because They have no depth. Their bench is not very good. They're committed to this new philosophy of playing their bench, which I think they have to continue to do. You can't be 4 games in and completely throw that out the window. But it explains what Nick Nurse was going through when he was here. He's like, I don't like these guys. I don't want to play them. They're not going to give me any production. And offensively, It's a real struggle. And Siakam continued his issues last night. So, yeah, that was a layup. It was a layup, and it didn't go their way. So the Raptors are off tonight. They're back in action tomorrow night. But the Leafs are back home, and they're in action tonight. And I actually appreciate this 8 p.m. start because I can get the kids out. I can get the kids out. Go do the Halloween thing. Be back for puck drop, basically. You know, we'll be back probably by 8:10, 8:15.
Is that the reason for the late start, or is it like
no? It's an ESPN game.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah, it's ESPN. I think they were looking for an 8 p.m. primetime. Ray's in town. Ray's calling the game tonight, and it's, of course, on TSN tonight. TSN 4. You're doing the panel.
Yeah. We've had 2 8s in a row. There before that was a 6. I love the 6. I love the 6. You're in your car driving home at 8:30. Mm-hmm. The 8 o'clock starts a different ball game.
Yeah, and Joseph Woll going tonight. And I just heard Kaz talking about it, that William Nylander has a chance to set a franchise record with a point tonight because no Leaf in history has started the season with 9 straight games with a point.
Really?
Which is, I was not aware of that.
100 years. Like, it never ceases to amaze me. 100 years, this organization, and, like, they're setting records
all the
that
time.
You would think, like, you would
all
think.
the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
you would have thought that 10-0 start with Dougie G, like, Dougie would have chipped in with points on every game in that year.
Right. That's what was surprising to me is, listen, 9. It's not that no one's had a 9-game point streak. Obviously, we just saw Mitch Marner.
Year.
It's to start the year. That's what makes this unique. Is you could have 30 points in 9 games, but game 4 you didn't have a point and you're excluded from this list, right? Like you got to start hot, you got to stay hot, and that's what Nylander's done. And this one is a very unique statistic, clearly, but it speaks to what these guys are likely going to accomplish. Like we saw, I think it was a couple of games ago, Mitch Marner became one of the 4 or 5 highest point getters in franchise history, I believe, and Matthews is right behind him. Maybe not in the top 5, but they're moving in that direction. And if Matthews is here long term, if Marner stays, if Nylander ends up staying, I think you're talking these 3 guys. Like if they all play at least 10 years here, the 3 of them are going to be top 10 in everything, basically.
Yeah.
Like that's what's coming. And if Matthews and Marner in particular, because of the amount of points they accumulate, although Willie's joining that party the last couple of years, like there's a chance the 3 of them could both be in the top 5.
I think Willie, the thing that he should be most proud of, Hayes, the points are great. If he gets this streak tonight, it's great, a little feather in the cap. But it's his in-game consistency. Like, don't you think that that's kind of the most improved? You're not sitting around waiting for him. Is he going to do something tonight? Basically every shift. And we've all watched every shift this guy's ever played. But this year it's like, oh, he's at it again. He's doing it again. He's got the puck. He's getting the puck. He's been great every shift. There's a consistency there. And I think that we always talked about the maturation process for a young player. When you get it and it clicks, it's like if I just go out there and work to get the puck, to get it back, to do good things, and the skill takes over after you get it, man, I'll tell you what, it's a pretty dangerous product. But that's what he should be most proud of. It's like the consistency shift after shift. He's going after it, and it's fun to watch. He should be proud of that. And now the narrative's changing around him. Everybody you talk to around the league, wow, that Nylander's playing good. He's a game breaker. He's a game changer. And he's right tied, or he's either one above or one ahead of that Rantanen. Mm-hmm. And I love that Rantanen from Colorado.
Oh, he's a stud.
Oh, he is a stud. He always makes things happen. He's a go-to guy. He's a game changer. You need a big play in a game. And he should focus on just staying right with that guy the whole season. Because if he does, he'll like where he's at the end of the year.
Oh, you're talking one of the better seasons.
Yeah, you're talking 40 to 50 goals, almost 100 points, and everybody thinks of you as a game changer, game breaker, and that's where you want to be.
Yeah, Willie, I wouldn't say he took offense to the idea that things have changed this year, but I'm sure you guys saw him speaking, I think, yesterday at practice. What
did he give the old, I'm just doing what I do?
Yeah, he said, hey, listen, I'm not doing anything different than I did last year, and let's be honest, he had 40 goals and 87 points last year. Like this, he had a very good season last year. He had a great season last year. But he's, I'm not surprised by that. I think that actually speaks to his general approach where he does see, we've always heard, and you guys have always said this, the guy works really hard. Like I know that it should go without saying, but his reputation around the team is a guy that's on off days, he goes to the rink and skates. Rat. Yeah. He's kind of like the reputation DeMar DeRozan used to have. They always used to talk about DeMar as a guy that would be there at midnight putting up shots. And Willie's had that reputation around the team for a long time. And I think he seems like a very processed player. And he plays and operates like the son of an NHL player, right? Like he just goes about his business. I'll bet you he eats right, he sleeps right, he drinks right, he works right, and everything's clicking for him. And he deserves his flowers because he's been great. He's been outstanding through 8 games. It does feel and look elevated based on the regular season production of, the last 3 or 4 years. But he's not wrong in pushing back that not like last year he had 15 goals and 45 points. I mean, he had a great season last year.
No, I think he's a guy that if he ends up replicating it again, getting 40 goals or more, and getting 85 to 90 or more, like you go, this is a guy who's arrived at that next level because he was really like a 60, 65-point guy, which is not anything to sneeze at. But then you find that next level where you've pushed up, and that's what pushes you through to the next threshold. I still believe he deserves something with the 9 in it, but it wouldn't be a stretch if he becomes an unrestricted free agent. It's double digits just based on, people who want you, and now there's a marketplace for you. But I think he's doing exactly what he's needed to do to go out and earn a contract. Instead, we're seeing other guys throughout the league that want contracts, want extensions. They haven't had great starts. He's had a great start. We'll see how he can sustain that,
And putting the money aside, I think you hit on a point there where in sport, I mean, you only have so long of your career, and it's even shorter in your prime. So you better do it, in back-to-back years to establish that, right? Like there's a certain percentage of star players when they're young, you just know it. You knew it was coming with Sid. You knew it was coming with Ovi, McDavid, Matthews, I think Jack Hughes, et cetera, where you're like, it's going to get there with these guys, McKinnon. They're going to put up monster numbers and live in that
up that
world.
1 year is huge.
Yeah, right. And then Willie, he was a really good player, but last year it was like, that's elite. 40 and 87 is elite. You double down with like 42 and 92. Now it's no longer, you're not a one-hit wonder. Like no one can label you that. Now you've arrived. Like you are a guy that's your reputation. The 65-point guy, he's gone. Now it would be a surprise if he fell off, the 40-goal, 85, 90-point range. And that is another level. Like that leads you into a position where you're talking 20, 25 guys in the world that can do it. If you can be a consistent guy who's going to score close to 40 and put up 90 points. Very few guys in the NHL do that all the time.
Right.
And that's the way he's been playing through 8 games. And as you said earlier, I'm anticipating it continues tonight. Like I expect Nylander rolls tonight. 5-game road trip. They're coming off an 8 p.m. start, Halloween. I don't know what kind of mood in the rink you're going to see tonight. I don't know what kind of legs the Leafs are going to have. And it's a good chance Joseph Woll will be tested. But we went into that Dallas game talking, his last start, talking about how big of an opportunity it is for him to continue to prove who he is and really get into the mind of the head coach that you're the guy that can be reliable in big games. Because if he plays well tonight, he should start in Boston on Thursday, right? Like that's a huge game at the Bruins on Thursday.
But what about that start? After what you've seen the last 3 games, Hayes, and Noodles can come off the top rope
I'll come off the top rope.
As the goaltending expert. If he stumbles a bit tonight, do you still go back to him Thursday?
I would expect they would go to Samsonov if he struggles tonight. I think they want to live in that kind of tandem world.
But what about just the mental approach, Hayes, where it's like, okay, you had it, like, not all stud goaltenders are great every night. I don't know. If I was the goalie and I'm up and coming and I'm starting to get it, if I stumble a bit, I'd be like, I'd like the benefit of the doubt, and I want the game on Thursday.
I can reason with that.
I don't know.
I can reason with the idea that, hey, let's see what you're made of, because that stumble's coming, right? We keep saying it, but it's coming. And
well,
maybe it is tonight.
That's what you want to get out of. As a guy that started out as a young guy, made mistakes. You get to a point where it's like if you screw up on the power play, you're still going out there the next power play.
Right.
So when is he going to earn that kind of benefit of the doubt? And I know it's way too early to be gifted benefit of the doubt type of stuff, but it would probably make him feel pretty good if it was like, you weren't that good the last game, but you know what? It's a big game in Boston. We want to win that one. Obviously, they want to win every one, but you're getting that start. I think that would mean a lot to him, but I don't know how it works.
Well, it would, but I also think I think it's too early in the season to just go, it's your net, it's your guy. But you can go one-offs. Like, you're right. If he stumbles a little bit tonight, I still think they might go back to Samsonov because realistically, they got to get him going too, right? Like, that's the other thing. Now, it's Boston. It's a good test, but I think there's good tests left and right. You can pick and choose as to, like, do you really need a litmus test? What are you, 9 games in?
Right.
Like,
Tonight's a good test. LA's a good team.
LA's a very good team. So I see what you're saying, and I could see him, a competitive young goaltender, putting his hand up going, I want another shot at this. I want Thursday. That could be a legitimate argument for him, conversation with him, with the goaltender coach. But you got to look at the big picture and go, this is what our week looks like right now. We are going to go back to this guy. They might have scheduled Samsonov to play Thursday anyways, just based on, how things. And the other thing, too, is he is a young goaltender. Not every a big start, has to be his. Like, you do have to, protect is the wrong word. You still have to pick and select starts for everybody where it's the right fit, the wrong fit. So, let's see how it unfolds tonight. If he plays really well, then he writes his own ticket and goes, I'm going again Thursday.
Yeah, go for it. Exactly. And like, this is a test tonight. Boston will be a test. They will be without Charlie McAvoy on Thursday.
Oh, that was, suspendable hit.
That's
for sure.
100%. I was a bit surprised it was only a phone call hearing because that generally means it's 5 or less games, right? But
I love McAvoy, but that's just stupid. It's just,
it was.
The guy's just standing there. It's just
I don't think it was as bad as, to use a local example, bunting on Chernak. I thought Bunting's was worse. But if Bunting got 3 in the playoffs, McAvoy should get 3 in the regular season, I think, at a minimum. I mean, there was no need for it. It was blatantly targeting the head.
Ray's said it many times. You just mentioned Ray Ferraro doing the game for ESPN. He has said, you want to stop this garbage? Make a statement with it. Like, don't give him 2 games. Like, just that guy's just standing in front of the net.
There's
and you
no need for that last
Dude,
night.
it was a stupid, and isn't it the definition of a non-hockey play? Mm-hmm. I mean, just a guy standing there and you crush his head with your elbow? That's ridiculous. Drop the hammer on. I love McAvoy. He's a great player. Yeah. But you got to make a statement on a play like that.
Well, here's the thing. I was watching the game. You know that it's a bad hit when even Jack Edwards, who is the ultimate homer as far as the Boston Bruins, there's lots of homers out there. People call Joe Bowen a homer. That, when you call their games, it is what it is.
Yeah,
when
you
Jack
love your home
Edwards,
team.
Exactly. When Jack Edwards and Andy Brickley are going, he's going to get a call from Department of Player Safety, they know it too.
Yes.
That's the biggest, indictment for me watching that. There was no like, oh, you know what, it kind of slipped or whatever. It's like, it's a bad hit. It's a head hit. And you know what? The league, they smacked that Rasmus Anderson the other day for 4.
He got 4. Exactly.
Right?
And I think that's a comparable play. I mean, that's exactly it. Now, we'll see. And, the conspiracy theorists will start flying that Boston, never gets anything because they're Boston and, Jacobs, the owner, and Bettman and all that. But, listen, Boston still won the game last night. And Boston is still a juggernaut. It's an incredible story where, they've found a way to start this year better than they did last year.
Ridiculous, man.
It continues to roll over and roll over. And, there were a number of different things that came out of the NHL last night, but I think a lot of it was, revolving around the McAvoy hit, Boston finding a way to win, and the Penguins finding a way to lose last night against Anaheim at home.
Short-handed with seconds
They had
left.
multiple 5-on-3s, and then
McTavish comes out of the box,
with 14 seconds left to steal the game last night. And Anaheim is one of the worst teams in the league. I mean, that's got to be a layup for the Penguins, and they couldn't find a way to make it happen. Erik Karlsson has not found his Norris caliber way yet. I think that's an understatement. And I got to believe Kyle Dubas is absolutely freaking out in Pittsburgh because you're an old team, you're a slow team, you're trying to salvage anything you can. And to have a start like this, the Penguins have got to run off. You know, they got to play. I saw today someone suggest like 600 hockey, 610 hockey the rest of the way. I'm not sure they're capable of doing that.
Well,
like,
they are.
Throw away the start.
For whatever reason, and Doogie, you might want to look into this, they are traditional slow starters. I don't know why that is. And then they go on this heater middle of November. But you just said it, Hayes. They're a little bit older. Each guy's got some miles per hour taken off. Can they go on that heater? Because if they don't, they're screwed.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and again, this is not retrospective analysis. At the time, I was like, I thought Dubas added some good pieces.
He did.
I thought he added some good pieces. The Karlsson deal was polarizing because you're just adding another old guy with a lot of term and a lot of money. But we saw what he did last year, and you got to give him some time to find his way. I think eventually that will likely happen. But it's an ugly scene right now in Pitt. All right, Mike Johnson coming up. He's calling the game tonight. He'll join us just after 5. Marcellus Wiley later in the afternoon. The Detroit Lions with a big win last night. Team Owen Wilson.
Oh, man. Let me ask you this. I do a thing. I do it. If this was you, put yourself in my buddy Gary's shoes, okay? Mm-hmm. Me and Gary do a little thing on Monday nights, and I forgot to put the pick in. So I said, Gary, I sent them the OverDrive clip of me and my partsie taking Detroit. And I said, Gary, look, that would have been my pick because hang on a sec. Okay, I said, I was just on TV earlier in the day and I picked the Lions. You can hear me saying it. So why would I pick something different with you, Gary? Would you accept that?
Absolutely not.
Oh, come on, Hayes.
You can't you can't jump on FanDuel and make a bet and then go to a different book after the game started and said, oh, well, I bet on FanDuel, so obviously I would have bet with you guys.
I mean, this is between two friends, and he's like, you forgot to make the pick, and I'm like, well, my pick
Gary's a sneaky devil. He knows what's up. He didn't want anything to do with Josh McDaniels, Jimmy G, and the Raiders last night. Wow. And that's why, because he understands that the Lions were the lock of the century.
Okay, then why wouldn't he just accept the pick? Like I told him I'm a man of integrity.
Well, that's questionable, and I don't know. I mean, that's on you, I guess. I wish I could dig you out of this hole, but that was a layup for you. All you had to do was send Jerry a text saying Lions. Or Jerry, tune into OverDrive. We're on right now. I'm about to make my pick. One or the other, and it didn't happen. All right, confirm or deny coming up. Actually, we're going to call this trick or treat today.
I saw that.
Yeah, trick or treat coming up.
A very
different, highly produced variation.
The Grappler never did trick or treat.
It's very original. It's very, very original. So we'll explain it. We'll get into it next.
Catch Molson Leafs hockey on TSN 1050.
Tomorrow score!
Thursday night, Leafs, Bruins, puck drops at 7:30.
Damage done!
On TSN 1050. The Leafs live here. Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
I can neither confirm or deny that this is in fact a segment.
Boston trades Andrew Raycroft to Toronto in exchange for the rights to Tuukka Rask.
It's been my honor and a privilege to serve as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club.
It's time for Confirm or Deny.
Do you regret giving all those gentlemen the no trades or no movement clauses?
I can neither confirm or deny that.
I can't confirm or deny.
All right, confirm or deny, also known as Trick or Treat. It's brought to you by Don Valley North Lexus. I'm sure they're ecstatic to be associated with this. Lease the 2024 NX 250 Signature Package from just $598 per month for 28 months. Visit DonValleyNorthLexus.com for all the details. All right, trick or treat. We know how this works. Effectively, trick is deny, treat is confirm. All right, so it's a combination of confirm or deny, trick or treat, Weegi, non-gi, which is ours, right? Weegi, non-gi, we use that from time to time. But I'm not actually going to read these out. Full-blown production level. It's Halloween. We're all in. Doogie and JP are running the show. Let's get rocking. James Harden has added his final costume of his career because he will now retire an LA Clipper. Ooh, Trick or treat on that one. Trick or treat on that.
Doogie, JP, guys, that was awesome. I'm tricking this. I'm not treating that. This is a trick. I just said it earlier. Things will go down in LA where he'll just say, check, please. But I don't know if at his age he can pull it off again, but he'll certainly try. This is a trick. This is a trick for sure.
Trick means like Weegie.
Trick is a deny. Trick is a deny, effectively.
I'm treat then, because this is his last. Like at some point, the league is going to go, I don't want you. You're a cancer in the room. You're a sideshow.
Wouldn't you think that would have happened by now, Noodles?
Yes. But I think he has enough game that people tolerate it. Do you remember Tim Thomas and some of his antics with the Boston Bruins?
Yep.
You know why they did that? Because he won a Vezina, and he won a Stanley Cup, and he won a Conn Smythe. And then the minute he, started to play dodgeball in Dallas and in Florida, they were like, get the hell out of here. Like that's at some point they're going to look at the product and go, you're not worth the trouble. Go. That's what I'm thinking. So that's a treat.
Yeah, I'm. George Bush once said, "Fool me once, shame on
you,
me." I'm not gonna get tricked by James Harden again because this is a trick. There's no way this guy's gonna stay in one spot for the next 3 or 4 years. Like, there's no chance. His contract's gonna come up at some point. They're probably gonna re-up him. They'll give him the money, but at some point they will either flip him, because the wheels will fall off. That's another part of this. Or he'll demand out in a year or two. I mean, I can't trust it. I won't trust it. I'm not going to get tricked. This is a trick. The Snickers bar is the Wayne Gretzky of Halloween candies. Yes. Treat. 100% greatest of all time. Snickers. No question.
Dude, you're a fraud, because 2 years ago was the mini coffee crisp. The mini coffee crisp is Gretzky in his prime, 92 goals, 212 points. There's nothing better than that. And you even said that a couple years ago on this very segment, and now you're switching to Snickers.
What I would say, I think that's Lemieux in his prime. It's not far off, but it's a step. I love the coffee crisp. I've had 50 of them in the last 3 days. I just went upstairs and I knocked off a 3-pack. I hit a Snickers, I hit a Wonder Bar, and I hit a coffee crisp. I'm not even hungry. Okay, I'm like a dog. I can't control myself right now. The time we get to kids knocking on the door, there won't be anything left. But the Snickers, I don't know, maybe it changes every season. But the last couple weeks, we've had some Snickers kicking around. I am burying those things.
No.
Like
dude.
They're outrageously good. You can't beat it. It's 92 goal season, 50 goals in 39 games.
Dude, you've had a moment of weakness where you've had a growl on at home, and the Snickers was there to comfort you, and you just...
Yeah, I was hungry, so I grabbed the Snickers. That's exactly right.
Not 12 feet from where I'm sitting. I should bring this in. I have a tub of 700 pieces of candy.
Why do you need 700?
I don't know.
You get 4 kids at your door every year, too.
I had that one criminal.
You get an Amazon driver.
I had the one kid who literally I had to catch on camera. He stuffed his bag so full. And that kid, he might be in jail now because that's where he was headed with that type of thievery.
Shameful.
But I'm telling you, right now, I'm looking at the Reese, like the round, the shape of the pumpkin, the orange ones.
Yeah. The Buttercups are good. It's quality. That's McDavid last year.
There is also the Hershey, the white chocolate, whatever that is.
Yes, Bobby Orr in 1970.
Yeah, so I'm tricking it.
There's competition, but
to
for me it's a treat.
Is. And I haven't gotten to full bars of Big Turk. Like I'll hand out a Big Turk if I had to.
Come on, Big Turk's Jesse Pugliarvi in his third year.
The laziest one. I've told you guys this before. Eat more. Nobody wants an eat.
Nobody wants it. I
don't even know if people eat them anymore.
No.
But I think
waivers.
the Snicker. Yes, the Eat More has been on waivers.
I was a fan. I liked it.
No, it's playing in Switzerland right now. It's not in the league.
It's overseas in a Division II league. But I think there's other levels.
Okay.
Snickers is good.
All right.
It might be a starting lineup guy, but it's not the Gretzky.
All right.
No.
All right. What else do we have, JP? William Nylander arrived at the Maple Leafs Halloween party dressed like an envelope, and inside it was his invitation to a top 10 spot for this year's Hart Trophy. Dressed as an envelope with a top 10 Hart voting inside. Bill Nylander, top 10 for the Hart.
I'm going to say it's a trick.
Mm-hmm.
As much as we've been tire pumping and he's deserved every second of it, I think number 34 is going to start revving up the engines again. And once he does that, all the spotlight goes to him. I think after the couple hat tricks, it's been kind of
quiet.
It's been quiet for Austin Matthews. And I think if he cranks it up again and starts dialing it in every night and Mitch Marner gets on board with him, I think you're going to see the focus go to 34. Therefore, I'm going to call this a trick.
Okay.
Not taking any.
He's been great.
Yeah, he's been great.
If it was tonight, he'd be in the top 10, no question.
That's right. But 34 cranks it up along with 16. The attention shifts. That's why I think it's a trick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a trick for me too. I just think we're, great start, deserves all the flowers, but I think by the end the dust will settle. He'll probably end up kind of behind Matthews and Marner in that situation, and then depth chart as well. And then you look at throughout the league, too.
Well, exactly. Like, to get to 10, it doesn't take long. Jack Hughes and McKinnon's
Alex DeBrincat's got 10 goals.
DeBrincat's been great. Yep. DeBrincat's been outstanding. I don't think Detroit's going to hold on to this and make the playoffs.
I will say this, Hayes, it's not like a pipe dream. Like, it's not an impossibility.
No, we're 8 games in. The guy's, how many points does he have? He's got 13 or 14 points.
Who, Nylander?
Yeah, William Nylander.
Nylander's got 12 points.
12 points.
He's 6-6. Yeah, he's right there. He's tied, I think, with Mikko Rantanen with 9th in the league in points.
Yeah.
So he's had a great start. I agree, but I think
I think it's a trick too, though. I do.
I
think William Nylander ends up with around 40 goals, 85, 90 points, like he did last year. Like, that's kind of what I expect, and that's a great, great season. But you're going to find 10 guys in the NHL that are ahead of him. I think you're right with Matthews. I think if McDavid's healthy, if Draisaitl's healthy, McKinnon's off to a start. Jack Hughes, clearly, there's going to be a number of guys.
Patterson, on fire.
Yeah.
Pasternak,
Matthew Tkachuk could still be in the running. It's so early. We're still in October at this point. It's a bit premature for that, but there's a number of guys he's got to jump over. But right now, he's riding that wave. He's had an incredible start to the season. What else do we have, JP? Brock Purdy showed up to the 49ers Halloween party dressed as a ghost, indicating he's not the real deal and the 49ers are in serious trouble. Dressed like a ghost. He's been seeing ghosts, man, throwing picks left, right, and center in the Bay Area.
I don't like to be negative ever. I don't like to predict someone going in the tank, but maybe this was all a sham. Maybe it was a sham, and Mr. Irrelevant, there's a reason. My dad used to always say, there's a reason that guy spent so much time in the minors, because they'd come up and everyone would be, freaking out, and he's like, don't worry, they'll end up back in the minors, and they always would. So maybe, just maybe, and I hope I'm wrong, but I'm going to call this one a treat. Maybe they're right. Ooh. He is a ghost.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a feel-good story, but maybe Cinderella. Maybe its clock has struck midnight here.
Maybe that's what you should have said, Hazy. He was a pumpkin.
That actually would have been better. Yeah, you're right. I was lacking creativity with Ghost.
Yeah, I think it's true. Trick.
Yeah. You think it's a treat?
Yeah, treat. Yeah, sorry, it's a treat, but we're not. I'm worried about him. Put it that way.
He's thrown a lot of picks, and he's never been in this position where he's losing, right? When he showed up, all he did was win. He controlled the ball very well. They started the year 5-0.
Man, people are going to be picking him apart, his size, his arm strength.
Exactly.
They're going to be picking that guy apart.
But I'm going to say this take is still a trick, because I like his demeanor. I mean, I like the guys, even when he throws a pick, he doesn't act, as if, he's remorseful or he's dejected or whatever. He seems to have the same disposition all the time, which I think goes a long way for the quarterback, like the goaltending position, which we've talked about a lot this week. And it's 3 bad games. He's thrown 3 picks. No question about that. He also suffered a concussion, Maybe it's injury related to an extent. I don't know if he's even at 100% coming off the injury he had last year. They just picked up Chase Young to add to the defensive line. So if that defense gets cooking again, McCaffrey's a beast. Samuel returns. I'm not saying this guy's going to win MVPs or be the next Joe Montana or anything like that, but I don't think this means like it's over. The pumpkin is exploded at midnight here. I think I'm willing to give Brock Purdy some more time. They're still 5-3. Like, people are waiting to write off the Niners.
Right.
Watch what you wish for, man. It's still very early. There's a lot of football, and they're a second-half team always. The best teams rise to the top once you get to November, December. I anticipate the Niners will do that. Old school Halloween movies are much scarier than new aged Halloween movies.
Purely and simply evil.
Okay, there you go.
100%.
Dude,
Noodles, this is made in the shade for you, man. You're the movie guy.
Let me just start before Noodles. This is 100% layup. The new age, I don't even know what the hell, what would be considered a new Halloween
I don't know. It's all gory stuff. It's, the same. It's a hand coming out of a mouth.
The clown in the sewer. What was that movie?
Yeah, It or whatever.
That was the stupidest movie I've ever wasted 2.5 hours of my life on.
Yeah.
The old school Michael Myers chasing people through the cabin.
Crazy.
Sawing arms in half. That was horror.
Yeah, like that. That's my.
Yep.
The first Halloween, I remember being a kid. I think I was maybe 8 years old or whatever. And my parents went out for the night and left me with my brothers. And I was supposed to go up to bed. And my brothers are like, you could sit and watch. And I sat and watched it. To this day, like, I used to have to walk home after school. Do you remember the scene where he stole the station wagon and he's just driving? The kid's walking, he's just driving alongside of him for years. Like, any car that would, like, pull up, like, I would always just still be, like, looking over, like, is that...
There he is.
There he is. Like,
he showed up in Edmonton.
Michael Myers is, like, following me. I was so rattled. That movie was terrifying.
So terrifying. So terrifying. Shot so well. You knew he was coming. You know what I mean? It's like you knew it was coming and you still would freak out.
Like, even like old school, like with Jack Nicholson, what's his name? Jack Nicholson, The Shining.
Yes.
You remember
The
him,
Shining is terrifying, dude. When that kid bikes around the corner and the twins are standing there, that is one of the most terrifying scenes.
It's horrifying.
It's horrifying. He's sitting in the bar getting buckled with ghosts and stuff. Like, the whole thing is just wild.
Yeah.
Like, The Shining is a great example of that.
Yeah.
But, undoubtedly. I mean, we might be showing our age, but I'm sorry. A lot of now, there have been, like, what was the one out in the woods? Blair Witch.
Terrifying. I saw that in the theater.
Terrifying.
And I was scared. Now, I was a little bit
That was like
sick.
20 years ago, though. That was a long time ago. And the Saw movies, like the original Saw, when that guy gets up at the end and starts walking out.
Yeah.
That's
Those
wild.
were great.
Jeepers Creepers, pretty wild. Jeepers Creepers, that's like 25 years old, maybe.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even consider it modern.
The Saw movies were good. Like, they did a good job.
Really
there.
well done. Really well done, the Saw movies. All right. Well, we got a bunch more we'll scatter them through the show. We got a bunch of trick or treats, right?
Keep them coming.
I think that was pretty good. A little trick or treat, right?
JP, good job. Doogie,
JP, Sean is doing things on TV. It's great. Everything's coming together. Trick or treat. Brought to you by Don Valley North Lexus. Lease the 2024 NX 250 signature package from just $598 per month. For 28 months, visit DonValleyNorthLexus.com for all of the details. Mike Johnson in about 15 minutes. Marcellus Wiley coming up. He's a big Clipper fan. His take on Harden to L.A. and a couple of trades in the NFL, including the team down in Washington dumping a couple of defensive linemen. They are pulling the chute on the season. So we'll get into a number of things with Marcellus. We got Bobby Marks coming up later this afternoon. Ryan Dempster, Game 4 of the World Series tonight.
Nice.
Yeah, Texas with a big one last night. Even Scherzer, basically, I don't know if he blew his back out, but pulled the pin because of his back, and it didn't matter in the end. Texas got the job done. So more on that still to come as well. The Leafs are in action tonight. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Leafs Kings tonight on TSN 4, 8 p.m. puck drop. sure a lot of people are heading down to the game thinking 7 o'clock start. Well, you're going to see warm-up, and you're going to see the anthems.
Dude, maybe the Halloween thing might take away from like a Tuesday blah kind of game.
That's
I hate that. I hate the fact that every time there's a weekday game, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's like, oh, what's the crowd going to be like? I absolutely hate that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, be cool fans. I don't know.
I can see it tonight. Tuesday, Halloween's tough. The weather's, it's cold, man. It's getting really cold. Yeah. It was snowing earlier today.
And then some fans leave the building like, oh, they didn't score in the first period. It's like, okay, but that doesn't happen at every NA. The Rangers don't do that every game.
No, fire it up.
Just
you're there
fire
to see
it
a
up.
win.
Fire
you're there
it
to
up.
see a win. That's what you're there to see, right?
Exactly.
And if the Leafs can find a way to get a win, they keep pace. They've had a great start. In terms of wins and losses, 5-2-1, they're off to a really good start. And, LA's off to a pretty good start themselves. LA's just trying to keep pace with Vegas as much as they possibly can. Vegas won again last night. Montreal's off to a great start, though. Like, let's call that one.
They deserve credit. They deserve credit.
They really
They've worked hard.
Yeah.
Marty
really
St. Louis said since he took the job, that was the best game he's seen them play, start to finish. You got to give them props for what they've done early on.
In Vegas on a Monday, that's tough. That's a tough game. Like, that's the toughest spot to play right now is against Vegas, probably in that building. And for them to get it to overtime, get to a shootout, I believe it was. And I'm seeing out of Montreal, there's concerns about this Slavkovsky start. Right? I think he's got 1 point on the year. And it's like, what's going to happen here? What's his future going to look like? They took him first overall. There's some
I think it's got to go down.
Music. Yeah.
I would put him in the minors for 10, 20 games. Let him go down, play, get some confidence, and then come back up. Mm-hmm. His development was hurt by COVID. Like, that's flat out. You look at Shane Wright, you look at guys, Slapkowski, guys like that.
I know, but Noodles, if you're a fan of the Habs, you're like, why didn't you take somebody else that's dialed in?
You drafted him after COVID.
Yeah.
And
I get it. I'm just telling.
No, I know.
They weren't generational players, though.
No, exactly.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, look at the kid Lafreniere, just starting to get it now. How old is he?
Yeah, he's been in the league a few years now, yeah.
Just starting to get it now, and just starting to. And Kako, same thing. So.
Okay, well, we'll see what Johnny has to say about that. We'll catch up with Mike Johnson, Marcellus Wiley coming up. Big Clipper fan, his take on the Harden deal, the NFL deals today, the Lions winning last night. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.